What do you want to be when you grow up? You probably have some idea. Maybe you want to be just like the speakers that you've heard today, maybe Lane Beachley, maybe your high grades in science and nagging you to become a doctor, maybe take over the family business, maybe like me, your love for research and writing drives you to become a journalist. Maybe all of these things would deliver you a satisfying life. But maybe, just maybe, you should think outside the definition of a certain occupation and create a dictionary of your own. True story, a group of prep students were asked to write down who they were. At just 5 years of age, more than half completed the sentence, I am a, with a job, doctor, pilot, hairdresser, etc. 2 saw themselves as an animal. 1 saw themselves as an object, a speed camera for some weird reason. And only a few actually said that they were themselves. I am Laura. Now, I think that's really sad. So today, I'd like to offer you a single powerful alternative to the questions, who are you, what do you want to do, what do you want to be? It's just one answer, and it sounds a little bit strange, and it might shock some of you, but I think it'll make sense as I go. It's an answer for everybody, but using it won't make you just like the rest of them. I am a sponge. But if you look at my LinkedIn, it'll tell you that I'm a journalist at Business News Australia. I spend my days interviewing entrepreneurs like Sky and executives from Southeast Queensland, Brisbane, Gold Coast companies. We do the Young Entrepreneur of the Year awards. We do amazing things, and I'm constantly around amazing people that are just achieving beyond what I could ever imagine. This is some of the stuff that we do. I go about my work in a variety of settings, sometimes glamorously at events on stage, but more often than not, life as a journalist is often behind the desk and on the phone and casually chatting to people in person. But enough about me, because I'm honestly nothing special. Like I said, I am just a sponge. And because sponges have high absorbency rates, I choose to spend my time with people who are suds, not duds. And by that I mean you won't learn anything if you're the smartest person in the room. You have to constantly surround yourselves with people who are smarter than you to make yourself go one better all the time. And lesson 1 from a young journalist to the world, to be interesting, you must first be interested. I'm sure many of you have heard the saying that you are the average of 5 people you surround yourselves with, which I think 2 people already mentioned today. And I found this to be incredibly true. You know when you're around people and they just drag you down, you feel heavy when you're around them. Pardon the pun, but I love words, I'm a journalist, but as a sponge, you sink to the bottom of the sink. Whereas there's other people who you can't get enough of them. When you're around them, you feel lifted to go higher. You go to the top of the sink with all of the other suds. So some days I hang out with hundreds of people through my field of work at events like this, but more often than not, I barely make my 5-person quota in real life. But the beauty of my work is I can spend all day with a handful of really cool people of my choosing through writing about them and interviewing them. So how did I get here? I'm a St Hilda's old girl, 5 years out, who studied journalism, communications, business, and marketing at Bond University. I absorbed a lot from my education, and just on a couple of things I learnt here at St Hilda's. In art, I learnt that the best ideas are often born from curation. You won't create a masterpiece without looking at your fair share of other masterpieces first, and also some very ordinary work. There are entire movements dedicated to this school of thought, like How to Steal Like an Artist, which is an amazing book that I recommend for everyone here. In history and economics, I learned that life moves in trends, with occasional freakish black swan events that come out of nowhere. Periods in time can be roughly defined, just like your life moves in chapters too. I don't deal with careers counsellors these days, but funnily enough, I'm asked to define myself by occupation and aspiration more than ever before. If I don't have a 5-year, 10-year, 50-year plan up my sleeve to give someone within an instant, I feel like I'm rendered wasted or worse, apathetic. There is apparently rarely an alternative. I should be aspiring to be an editor of a major media organisation within 5 years' time, but the truth is I'm not sure where I want to go with my life. And I should be putting on my serious face and winning people over with maturity for my age, but all I wish I could answer is I'm aspiring to be a professional sponge. Yes, I'm identifying with a household product that cleans bathrooms and sinks. I'm well aware. I have no shame. A sponge is absorbent. A sponge is never wasted. A sponge leaves its mark on everything it touches. And at the age of 22, I really couldn't think of a better way to be. The reality of today is that the average person actually has 14 different careers in their life. And the average multimillionaire has 7 different sources of income. So they might be a CEO, they might have investment properties, they might have shares in companies as well. I really didn't think I would be a business journalist. I just figured it would give me a better start to my career than cleaning out a fashion wardrobe in another magazine workplace. A sponge is always open-minded. It has tiny holes all over it to absorb plenty of new ideas. And as a journalist, I have the opportunity to bathe in the lives of others, even if just for a quick dip, and come out a better version of me. Some other notable sponges. Vera Wang. You girls probably know her for her beautiful gowns, which are actually synonymous with weddings now, I'm sure, all over the world. A lesser-known fact was that she was editor at Vogue for 15 years. Vera was turned down for the role of editor-in-chief. Rather than being bummed and bogged down and thinking, like, what do I do next? This sucks. My life's over. She decided to start her own wedding dress label. She used all of the inspiration that she'd accumulated over the years about design and media and fashion, and she turned that into a new company. I doubt she ever thought that a dress she designed, rather than the words that she wrote, would make her best cover stories yet. Another is someone I interviewed last week, Danielle Lewis, founder of a Brisbane startup named Scrunch, who actually moved to New York last weekend. Danielle has a really interesting story. She started her startup as a company that would provide virtual change rooms for online stores. So when you buy something online, you don't know what it will look like exactly, so you could see how it looked before you bought it. She figured that the market, after pitching, she figured the market wasn't really ready for that. It was a little bit too progressive. So she adapted her idea. She didn't get married to her original idea. And now what she is rolling out is a product that measures return on investment for social media influencers, which I'm sure some of the girls in the room are, or they're well aware of what that means. It actually has the potential to revolutionize the industry. I'm not kidding when I say that. And it is so technical, but my favorite part of it all is Danielle is just a fashion designer by trade. Fiona de Jong is another one who I find to be really spongy. Fiona started university as a girl with dreams of becoming a lawyer. She never would have dreamt what would happen next. So she started at Bond and she developed a hobby of training she developed a passion for swimming in the pool and running, and then she found herself falling into triathlons. She graduated university with honours and also an Olympic triathlon dream in very near sight. Unfortunately, Fiona didn't make the Olympics, but she is now CEO of the entire Australian Olympic Association, which is arguably greater or equal to scoring a gold medal, in my opinion. And just for diversity, someone I haven't yet interviewed, but hopefully I'll get there someday. Richard Branson, you all know him, he's been mentioned a few times today too. He already had the successful Virgin Music. He was getting on a plane, it was cancelled, he desperately needed to go to this destination, faraway, remote destination. He offered them money to buy the plane. They turned down his offer, he offered money to rent the plane, he still actually didn't have enough money. So the always enterprising Richard Branson held up a sign that said flights to wherever for however much dollars. Everyone who was on the cancelled flight chipped in. I think you know what happens next. Richard Branson has Virgin Airlines and it's his main business. It's worth billions of dollars. But when he was a teenager, I really doubted that he was thinking about shooting for the moon. Who knows, but his biggest investment now is Virgin Galactic. And the magazine that he started as a teenager, which was about music, has literally turned into a company that is shooting to land a ship on the moon. The most successful people I interview are always spongy and open to new ideas, evident in the innovation they inject into their work on a daily basis. They operate from a growth mindset. They may start down one path in life and end up heading down a completely different direction halfway down the track. So my advice to other young people here today is aspire to become a Jack or a Jill of many trades and a master of none of these really. There is an implied negativity that if you're not known for something, you can't be someone. However, I think it's a really good way to be, at least intermittently, in these transitory periods in your life, like leaving high school, starting high school, leaving university. Being a sponge for information, you can become good at many things, which makes you great at the intersection of those things. I really can't say this without paying mention to someone who probably carries your whole social life in your pocket right now. Steve Jobs was good, but not great at both design and electronics. He certainly wasn't a better programmer than Apple's top coders. But because he had a broad range of skills, he could better see the patterns and connect everything together. It's the generalists, not the specialists, who often rise to the top and take out and create their own companies or take out entire industries. But that might be a little bit far into the future for some of you. So for now, how easy is it for you to become a sponge and create your own unique intersection? You like science, you like art, great, make your own makeup. You like food and you like acting on stage in musicals. Why don't you start your own foodie YouTube channel? You have a competitive advantage when you're at that intersection. You can move between worlds, you can speak both languages, and you can better see the connections. Journalists often sensationalize and exaggerate. I'm very well aware of that, but I can promise you my advice is golden. Number one, be a sponge for information. Absorb it all and squeeze out a little, but only after it's gone through your own filter. Don't just regurgitate what you learn. Process it first. In saying that, though, you won't be able to soak up all of the suds in the sink of life. Don't worry about that, though, because just be rest assured that you're taking in just what you need. Secondly, try not to crumble when you're overloaded, whether you're overloaded with information, insult. Don't let any haters get in the way of achieving what you want to achieve, basically. No one likes a crumbling sponge. It has no use at all. And number three, leave your mark on everything you touch in the world around you. But don't be worried if your mark is seemingly going unnoticed or you feel like you can't even scratch the surface of things. Be confident that you are doing better than you know. Thank you.